Hey guys, what's going on? Back with another video. How's everybody doing? We're back with the Week 12 picks. It's Week 12. Unfortunately, the season's winding down here, but we do have the best games of the year this time of the year. November, December, but best games of the year. Thanksgiving, real heavy football, time of the year here. So, anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the picks. So we got the first game Thursday night tonight. Got the Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. So the Houston Texans got absolutely demolished, absolutely run over last week by the Baltimore Ravens, 41-7, I believe the score was, or something like that. I'm not sure whether to really buy in on the Ravens or to really sell on the Texans. They got completely destroyed in every phase of the game. The Texans did by the Ravens. Defensively, they didn't have a clue as to how to stop Lamar Jackson, and Deshaun Watson just could not. And the other thing you got to remember here is that Baltimore's defense really isn't that great. Their offense is dynamic and unbelievable. It can do a lot of different things. But the defense, it's good. It's not bad. It's good. It's not like, Ed Reed and Ray Lewis and all those guys are out there, because they're not. But it's an okay defense. Like, when you think of Baltimore, you think, oh, it's a tough defense and all that. But it really isn't. It's just, it's good. It's serviceable. It gets the job done. But regardless, the Texans couldn't really do anything in this game. They just got completely destroyed by the Ravens, and I thought the Texans were a pretty good team going into that game, and maybe they still are. The Colts, on the other hand, it's kind of a bittersweet bittersweet year, I guess you could say. For the Colts, because I thought going into this year, before Andrew Luck retired, this is a Super Bowl contender. This team, they go out, they lose to the Dolphins 2 weeks ago. They did beat the Jaguars last week. They lost to the Steelers the week before the Dolphins game. They barely beat the Broncos the week before. It's like, it's really up and down. It's an up and down team. It's just not. I don't know. I'm just not. I don't buy in on this Colts team. I know Jacoby Brissett. He comes from New England. He was the backup there. He starts after Andrew Luck calls it quits shortly before the season, and he's good. He's good. He's okay. He's good. He can make throws. He can he can run a little bit, but he's not going to win you the game. He's not a top quarterback, but he's good. He's good. He's good. He's okay. He's good, but he's not. He's not going to win it for you. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. I look at the Colts and I just think it's like just a middle of the road, average, middling team. Just kind of, I know they're 6-4, which is pretty darn good, but at the same time, you look at the schedule coming up here. You got the Texans, you got the Titans, the Buccaneers, the Saints loss. Panther, you could win that. Realistically, given how, the AFC's, it's not wide open, but it is, kind of the Ravens, the Patriots, and then pretty much everybody else. I don't even put the Chiefs, in the top 2 or 3. I really wouldn't at this point. But, it's not like the NFC where every team's really good, where there's, 10 great teams in the NFC. The AFC, it's the Ravens, it's the Patriots, and it's everybody else. So, if you look at the playoff picture right now, given the fact that I think, you look at this Colts schedule, Texans, we'll get into that. Titans, you can win that. Buccaneers, you can win that. Saints lost. So assume they lose one more. Let's assume or two. Okay, let's say it's let's say they finish 10-6. All right, you look at the NFL playoff picture right now. You've got, at least in the AFC, you've got the Colts are currently in the playoffs as the 4th seed, even though the Bills and the Bills have a better record, but because they're in the AFC East, they cannot, they can't get in the divisional, in one of those top 2 seeds essentially, because they're behind New England. But the Colts are hanging on there. They got the Bills and the Texans behind them for the 5th and 6th seed, and you got the Raiders right there in the 7th seed, who got the same exact record as the Texans and the Colts, and because of the bye week. The Chiefs have one more win than them, but they have the same number of losses. So the Raiders are right there. They're right in the conversation. And the Colts are hanging on to that 4th seed. So say you give them 2 more losses, 10-6. I don't know. You give each of these teams, 1 or 2 more losses through the end of the year. They're right there. They're right there. They're a playoff team. How far are they going to go? Probably not very far. But it's it could have been worse out there. I just feel like Jacoby Brissett's not. He's not going to lose you the game, but he's not going to win you the game. You know what I mean? So, anyways, yeah. As far as this game goes, I got the Texans winning this game just because the Texans just got completely embarrassed last week by the Ravens. I mean, this is going to be a bounce. You have to bounce back this week. You're at home. I get the Texans winning this game. But, interesting AFC South tilt here. Next, you have Dolphins and Browns. Woof. This is Sunday early. Yuck. Jesus, this sucks. All right. Give me the Browns. Dolphins suck. Except Myles Garrett. We're going to talk about Myles Garrett. So Myles Garrett takes off Mason Rudolph's helmet and beats him over the head with it, which should be suspended. I think he should be suspended like 20 games for that. I mean, everything the NFL talks about, player safety, and the head and concussions and your helmet. It's almost ironic in a weird way that it's like, here comes Myles Garrett just taking off Mason Rudolph's helmet and bashing him over the head with it. So there you go. You got what's coming to him. I still think they should have given him 20 games. I mean, you just can't. You can't be doing that, all right? Some shoving, some throwing hands, but taking their helmet off and beating them over the head with it. That's a problem right there. I mean, I almost thought if that were Tom Brady or Pat Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or somebody like that instead of Mason Rudolph, then I mean they would have been out for his head. You know what I mean? But I don't know. But it just speaks to how undisciplined this Browns team is, and just the fact that Freddie Kitchens just does not. There's too many cooks in the kitchen. Pardon the pun. But yeah, it's a team with a lot of talent but no direction. There's just no. I mean, they got to move on from Freddie Kitchens after this year. I mean, I'm not a fan of you give the moving on from a coach after only 1 or 2 years. But I mean, this guy, it's clear. I don't think it's ever been this clear on a team that I can remember that there's so much talent, but they can't put it together. It's never been this clear that the coach, in this case Freddie Kitchens, just can't get it together with this team. And they have enough talent to be doing a lot better than what we've seen. I still got the Dolphins suck. I got the Browns winning this game. And the Dolphins, speaking of the Dolphins can't even tank properly. All right, the Dolphins are out here. I got 2 wins. I mean, the Bengals are getting the #1 seed. Except now that Tua goes down with a fractured hip, out for the year. So I mean, he could fall in the draft, and it kind of upsets the whole apple cart here. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. Next game, Lions and Redskins. Give me the Lions. I mean, although, no Matthew Stafford this week. Well, I guess it's probably kind of a factor there. I still think that, you look at the Redskins suck, though. It's in Washington. It doesn't matter. Nobody goes to those games. Just give me the Lions with it. Either with Stafford or no Stafford. The Redskins suck. Give me the Lions. Next game, Raiders and Jets. I'm going to go with the Raiders. The Raiders, man, the Raiders are turning into something right now. They're a playoff team. You look at the Raiders right now, 6-4. You look at their schedule down the stretch. They got the Jets, they got the Chiefs. Chiefs need to win. So they're probably not going to win that one. They'll beat the Titans, beat the Jaguars, beat the Chargers, so they're 6-4. I can see them losing one more game and being 11-5 in a playoff team. I mean, that's pretty good. I think John Gruden should be the coach of the year. You remember they start the season with all the drama. You got, Antonio Brown, that whole thing. You got, wasn't somebody suspended or something? I don't really remember exactly, but it's just so much drama with the rate. I mean, it's I don't know, kind of gets to a saturation point there. But, the whole thing at the beginning of the year with the Antonio Brown, and it's this team's just, again, it's kind of like the Brett. There's just too many attitudes, too many persons. It's almost like those really old Raiders teams with John Madden. You just have all these attitudes on the team that he was able to manage. You got Gruden, who he's been able to figure it out. I mean, last season was kind of, kind of got his feet wet and, kind of a honeymoon period, if you will. And this year, they're a good team. You got Derek Carr, who's playing. I mean, after. They had a really great season in 2016, the Raiders did, until Derek Carr, went out with an injury, and then that was kind of the end of them. But then you look at, how they did 2017, you look at how he did last year, and it's okay, that was kind of a flash in the pan. Derek Carr, he's really not that great. And then this year, after a season with Gruden, and they kind of, figured things out, he's playing really well again. So, I give them a chance. I mean, I feel like this Raiders team, I feel like, and it's kind of sad that, you know, they're going to walk into, you know, you look at the playoff picture once again here. You know, it's as good as they are. They're going to walk into some buzzsaws in the playoffs. I mean, as open as the AFC is, as open as the AFC is though right now. So like, let's say if the playoffs started today, the Raiders would not be in the playoffs. You know, you know, if they, you know, because of how they were at the beginning of the season, 6-4. But like I said, I see them losing one more game the rest of the season because they're playing garbage teams the rest of the way, except for the Chiefs. They're going to lose the Chiefs game. They'll win the rest of them, and they'll finish 11-5 is what I believe, unless they choke, which, you know, that's kind of their own darn fault. But I got the Chiefs losing games. The Texans are going to lose. I mean, the Raiders should squeak into the playoffs here. They should. The problem is the Chiefs are in front of them. However, the Chiefs and the Raiders have the same number of losses. It's just that, in a matter of fact, the Chiefs have a harder schedule. They got to play, you know, we just pull that up real quick. I know they have to play New England in a couple weeks. They have to play, you know, obviously the Raiders after their bye week, which is this week. You know, and then they got to play. I mean, the Bears in Week 16. But that's not. I mean, it's in Chicago. It's not a huge. I mean, the Chiefs should be able to win, but it's not. You know, it's not going to be easy. But nonetheless, I feel like the Raiders should. I mean, it's kind of a. The Raiders should make it in, all right. Even if, you know, I mean, they're right there. Like, come on, it's almost like, you know, it's like when you go for you know, you see like a guy run for a first down, and it's like right on the line, and they just kind of and they just kind of give it to you. Just the Raiders should be in, okay? Come on, like, what else do you want to see? And I you know, I'll admit that, you know, I'm kind of you know, a sucker for nostalgia. You know, like I'd love to see, you know, Gruden and the Raiders going to New England in the AFC, you know, I guess divisional game, championship game, whatever. And it's like if it were snowing or something like that, you know, Gruden's like just. I want to. We need to see that. Okay, nobody wants to see the Buffalo Bills get eliminated on Wild Card Week. Like, that's not entertaining. Put the Raiders in there. Okay, the Bills. And first of all, the Bills are 7-3 because the Bills have an outstanding defense. And it seems like, you know, the quarterback's finally making some throws. I still think. You know, I still think that Josh Allen kind of sucks. I mean, I still think he's not really good. Like, you put him up against New England's defense, and well, I mean, they already played once. You do it again, and it's not. I mean, you saw how he was he didn't know what the hell he was doing out there. So yeah, I got yeah, Bills are going to lose. Yeah, the Raiders need to they should make it in. I think they will make it in. It's just, you know, they can't drop the ball here. But it feels like it would be a miscarriage of justice if the Oakland Raiders were not in it this year. Because, like, again, like, who wants to see the Bills lose in the wild card round? Like, get the Raiders in there. Nobody wants to see the Texans get blown out by the Ravens. I want to see the Raiders in the playoffs. I really do. I want to see that work. I want to see the league is better when the Raiders are good. It's almost like the league's better when the Cowboys are good. Not because I like the Cowboys, but just because, you know, it's one of those teams with a lot of storylines, and it makes things more exciting. But anyways, yeah. So I got because like right now, like let's say the playoffs started today, you'd have the Bills at the Colts. This would be wild card weekend. The Bills at the Colts. And the Texans at the Chiefs. The Chiefs, I feel like the Chiefs would win, the Colts would win, and then you would get in the AFC divisional round, you would get Colts at New England, you'd get Chiefs at Ravens, the Ravens would win, the Patriots would win, and your AFC championship game is going to be Patriots and Ravens, which holy cow, that's a game and a half right there. That is. Well, we'll hold off on that. But anyways, you know, you can see how tenuous it is. The Raiders got to get in there and make things interesting. So, like, let's say the Raiders did, you know, sneak in and they bumped off. I mean, they're not going to knock off the Chiefs. But I mean, well, you know what? I mean, the Chiefs. Okay, put it this way: the Raiders are gonna, because the Chiefs are going to do it. Yeah, all right. But all right, let's say the Texans get bumped out of it. All right, let's say that the Raiders sneak in with that number 6 seed. You get Raiders and then the Raiders will. Okay, well, let's give them a shot. It's going to be interesting to see. Anyways, I got the Raiders winning this game. Next game up, we've got the Giants at the Bears. Let's not waste much time with this. I got the Bears winning this game. I mean, Come on. The Giants suck. And the Giants are another team that should be good just because it makes things more interesting. But yeah, I got the Bears winning this game. The next game, Saints and Panthers. Give me the Saints. Seahawks and Eagles. Give me the Seahawks because the Eagles got completely shut down by. I mean, they so you know. Yeah, I guess I'll have to because the Patriots are playing the Cowboys, so I kind of got to talk about the Cowboys there. But we'll talk about the Patriots-Eagles game from last week. So Super Bowl matchup or Super Bowl rematch of Super Bowl 52 of a couple seasons ago. First time these two teams have played each other again. You look at this and it's like, okay, here we go. You know, the Eagles are a team with one of these kind of dynamic, misdirection RPO offenses that throws the Patriots off. I mean, they lost to the Ravens a couple weeks ago, and the Ravens did that. The Eagles clearly know how to beat the Patriots. They're aggressive. Doug Peterson, he's one of those guys. He knows how to. He's one of the rare coaches that knows how to play the Patriots. Like Harbaugh's one of them. Peterson, Tom Coughlin, when he was still coaching, was one of them. But it's didn't play out that way. You got the Eagles at the beginning of the game. Carson Wentz kind of gets flushed out of the pocket, throws a bomb down the field, draws pass interference. Come down the field, touchdown. Come out the Patriots, can't do anything with it. Goes back to the Eagles. The Eagles come down field goal. They're up 10-0, and it's like, okay, well, here they go again. And then eventually, the Patriots figured out how to, their defense, which is phenomenal, figured out how to stop the Eagles. And they did enough to win. Patriots offense not really that good, but they did enough. So, but the Eagles, they don't have enough weapons. Aguilar, I mean, I don't want to blame him for the pass he dropped in this game because it was like an impossible. Basically, at the back of the end zone, sliding down on your knees over your head, like this terrible. You can't even catch that. I don't blame him for that. But they don't have any weapons. They don't have a run game. I don't think the Eagles are really going anywhere here. So yeah, and the Seahawks are. I'm big on the Seahawks this year. I feel like the Seahawks are one of these rare teams, and I feel like Pete Carroll's one of these rare coaches, and a lot of it has to do with the fact they got Russell Wilson, who they're not. I mean, they were in the Super Bowl like back-to-back years. 49. Super Bowl 48, Super Bowl 49, 2014, 2015. They were in the Super Bowl. They blew out the Broncos that one year. They lost to New England next year. And usually teams, if they're, teams usually never go back to back unless you're New England. But if they do, usually, the teams, they make a run at the Super Bowl and then they kind of regress for a few years, and it's kind of a cyclical nature to the whole thing. But the Seahawks have not. They've had down years for sure. But like the Seahawks year, like the year when the Seahawks are down, like the last few years, it's like they're 10-6. Like they're never like 2-14 or anything like that. Like they're always a competitive football team. You got to give Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson credit for that. I'd say one of the rare teams other than New England you can say that about. And this year, the Seahawks are looking really good. My concern with the Seahawks is it still seems like not all of it, but a lot of it, kind of runs through Russell Wilson. Kind of having to pull plays out of his keister, which you can't really count on that, but. Seahawks are legit. I got the Seahawks winning this game. Next team up, Buccaneers and Falcons. This is the definition of garbage, right? This is straight up trash. This might be one of the. I don't even want to say it's as bad as Dolphins Redskins because at least Dolphins Redskins, those teams are so awful and so notoriously bad that it's like almost a talking point. Whereas this is just too just too ignominious, terrible team. The Falcons had beat the Saints, but that was more of a fluke. They kind of caught the Saints sleeping. I got the Falcons winning this game just because the Buccaneers suck. I hate the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers and the Bengals are two teams that just need to not beat. Those are just two terrible, just two worthless franchises right there. Give me the Falcons. It's at home, so give me the Falcons. Broncos and Bills. Give me the Bills. Bills defense is pretty good. Josh Allen's doing enough. I don't know how. How much you can count on it, but it's enough to win. I feel like the Bills have kind of had somewhat of an easy schedule, but they're a playoff team, so we'll see how far it goes. I think one of the worst top teams I've seen in a while. Because it's their defense and then doing enough on offense, which is not. I mean, I guess that sounds kind of a lot like the Patriots, but you really can't compare those two teams. So yeah, I got the Bills win this game. Next we have Steelers and Bengals. Give me the Steelers because the Bengals suck. Jaguars and Titans. Give me another one that sucks. I don't know. What is it about like the South Division teams, AFC South, NFC South, that they always suck? Okay, Titans, Jaguars, Buccaneers. Like those are like four of the worst teams in the league, and they're. I don't know what it's about like the South. I don't get it. It's every year. It's the same thing. Yeah. Give me. Jesus, flip the coin. Give me the Titans. You know what? Yeah, give me the Titans. Doesn't matter. All right, here we go. Not the game of the week, but close to it. The Cowboys and the Patriots. This is a game. It happens only once every 4 years, but this is a game that we like. This should be once every season. You should get like. I feel like the NFL needs to overhaul the schedule, not completely, because like the schedule, the playoff format. That's one of the things the NFL does really well. But still, they need to do something about the fact that maybe if there's going to be a 17-game season, maybe they will do something about it. But something needs to be done about the fact that you've got these great matchups, like inter-conference matchups, like Patriots Cowboys, or like Seahawks and I don't name it in Ravens, or like I don't know, any of those games where you're like, oh man, that'd be a great game. I want to see those two guys going head to head. Like any game like that. That you don't get to see, you get like once every 4 years, and maybe if those two teams make it to the Super Bowl, you get to see it. But because every team, in each conference any team in one conference plays any other team in the other conference once every 4 years, and the only time it's more than that is if they meet the Super Bowl. It's too like for instance, Green Bay went into New England last year, and it was the first time Aaron Rodgers had ever played in New England, because that's how. They only, one team in the NFC or AFC plays one team in the AFC or NFC in their stadium or the other stadium once every 8 years. So basically, you can, if you're in your, let's say you're in the AFC, you'll only play at any given NFC stadium once every 8 years. Like, that's just, it's too long. It's too, it shouldn't be that long to, to be able to play in one stadium or the other. It's just too freaking long. They got to do something. Like I think what I would do is I would get rid of 2 preseason games and add 2 regular season games, and then I would have it be, whichever, every 2 years, right? So like if you played, I don't know, like the NFC, West 2 years ago, then you're gonna play like the same, same seeded team. In the NFC West, as you were last year, 2 years later. I know that sounds really complicated, but you know what I mean? Like, just to be able to, not have it be so few and far between these good matchups. Like, it's just, not that Cowboys Patriots from like a talent standpoint is like the greatest matchup, but that's like the 2 most infamous, notorious teams in the league, 2 of the most hated teams, 2 of the most, infamous teams, 2 of the most important franchises in the league. Like, you shouldn't have to wait once every 4 years to see that, These 2 teams played last in 2015 in Dallas. I think, was it Tony Romo? I don't know, maybe not. I think it was Dion Lewis towards ACL in that game, and I remember it was a close game for part of it, I believe, because I remember Dallas in that game. Yeah, Dallas. Tony Romo was down, and then whoever was the backup then, I believe, played that game. But yeah, and I'm pretty sure New England won that one. But it's like there should be more of these games. We need more of them. There's not enough. Like I need more of this. You know what I mean? It's just not enough. Not enough of these good matchups. But this should be a great game. It's not my game of the week, because my game of the week is and I got the Patriots win this game. It's in New England, which I feel like Cowboys going to New England, like that should happen more often. It should happen a lot more often than like having to see Falcons Buccaneers twice every single year. Like you've got Cowboys Patriots is once every 4 years, and Buccaneers and Falcons is twice every single year. Like something's not right there. You know what I mean? But anyways, yeah, I got New England in this game. Next game, this is the game of the week. The Packers at the 49ers Sunday night. This is a game. Oh man, this is a game right here. Game of the week. All right, so Aaron Rodgers, who I know people like to say he carries his team, and a lot of years it's true. I think this year it's somewhat true because he's playing well, but they do have other weapons. They have a representative defense, I guess you could say, something like the best defense, but it's not sorry, I just dropped something on the floor. It's not a turnstile. It can get you some stops when you need them. The offense is playing well. They're good enough run game, good enough passing. It's a good Packers team. Then you look at the 49ers, who I still think the Saints are the best team in the NFC. They've just kind of fell asleep a couple weeks ago against the Falcons, and now because of like the influence of power rankings and people, the 49ers are the like that, and then just two teams are going to play each other soon, so it's going to kind of tell us what we need to know there as far as the 49ers and the Saints go. But you look at this and it's like this is a good game. But I look at the 49ers and it feels like the 49ers, all their hard games have been at home this year, it seems like. I'm not big on the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not high on that team. I'm just not. I'm not high. I don't. There's something about. They're good, and it's like they're resilient, and they remind me a lot of like, like those like Seahawks teams from a few years ago. They remind me of the Patriots. They remind me of like those old Baltimore teams. Like they're just, like they don't get down and then just quit. You know what I mean? Like they were down against the Cardinals. They were like down like 9-0 or 10-16 and nothing. They were down early in the game, and it's like most teams wouldn't win. Especially when you get punched in the mouth by what I think is an inferior opponent. But you get Kyler Murray running all over you, and it's like, wow, the 49ers are going to drop a second game in a row. It's maybe they're the wind's coming out of their sails, and they come back a win. Jimmy G starts throwing dimes, and they come back. And I still think the Cardinals kind of blew it at the end because they, end of the game, the 49ers needed a touchdown. All they had to do was stop for a touchdown, and they just, blown coverage at the end of the game, and you can't really afford to be doing that. But I just feel like the 49ers, like, yeah, they're resilient and they can do a lot of great things in big spots, but they shouldn't always have to be doing that. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy Garoppolo shouldn't have to be like rebounding from interceptions in every single game. Like Jimmy Garoppolo, look, it's like when he's good, he's great. But when he's bad, he sucks. Like, you know what I mean? Like his ceiling and his floor are very far apart. Like, he can play really well and throw all these dimes, but then he can also throw like 4 picks in a game and suck. So it's like, I think what it comes down to is his field vision and his decision making is not very good. Like he can look like and this has been a knock on him like his whole career. Like going back to like the scouting at the combine, like knocks on him where he stares down his receivers for too long. You know what I mean? And he doesn't feel pressure coming. Right? You get guys coming and he just doesn't duck eye. He doesn't feel it coming because he just look. And then he'll lock onto a guy. And like there'll be a corner right there, and he'll throw a pick like right at the guy, and just not even see him. And then again he can play really well too, but then he has these like spells, these episodes where he doesn't feel the pressure and he gets strip sacked, or he just flat out doesn't see a corner who's right in front of him and throws a pick. And then he'll just start throwing dimes and come back and win. But it shouldn't come down to that. You know what I mean? So anywho. That's kind of my spiel there on that. But then you look at the Packers are a good team. Packers are a really good team who it's like, I don't want to forecast how the Packers, how it's going to shake out for them this season, just because like I think the Packers are one of these teams like you can never count the Packers out of any game, right? Like there's no game where you can look at it and be like, oh, it's not gonna, it's gonna be a tall order. Like even if they're playing the Saints in the NFC Championship game. I still don't rule out the possibility that Aaron Rodgers, with 10 seconds left, down by 5 at the end of the game, is gonna like do some unbelievable hit. Like you just can't count them out because of that, and it's immeasurable. Like you can't really go, well, still no. You just they're such a wild card team. I don't mean wild card like they're playing on wild card weekend. I mean wild card in terms of like you can't count them out. You don't know what you're going to get, and it's you know they're pretty damn good. They're the second seed, 8-2 in the NFC. The Packers are right on the 49ers' heels. If the 49ers lose a game, they could be out of the number 1 seed. I still think the Saints are the best, most complete teams because the Saints are also 8-2. So the Packers, the Seahawks, and the Saints all have 2 losses. It's just because of strength of schedule and other tiebreakers in terms of how they figure out the seeding. But nonetheless, you know, you look at the Packers and I just feel like they could beat any team, anywhere, anytime. Or they could lose to any team, anywhere, at any time. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things. I'm not counting them out of anything. I got them. I do have them winning this game. It's in San Francisco, Sunday night, primetime game. It's a big spot, and I just feel like the 49ers have been. They've just been. I don't know. Like they're flying a little bit too close to the sun. You know what I mean? Like it's a little bit. You know, they were. Jimmy Garoppolo was loose with the football, interceptions, turnovers against the Seahawks. They lost last week. The Cardinals go up big on them early, which never should have happened. They come back and they win a close one against the team where it shouldn't have been a close win. It just feels like they're playing with fire, and the Packers are the kind of team where you screw up and you're going to lose. Yeah, I got the Packers win this game. The next thing I got Ravens and Rams. I got the Ravens winning the game, even though it's in, you know, it's at Rams. I still, Ravens are a damn good team, man. So here's the thing with the Ravens. Here's my spiel on the Ravens. The Ravens are 8-2. They're right on the Patriots' heels for the first seed in the AFC. Patriots are the number 1 seed at 9-1. Ravens are the 2 seed at 8-2, which is, yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. Even though, so if the Patriots lose a game, like just one game the rest of the year, the Ravens are probably getting the number 1 seed. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson is doing things I've never seen, but because you've had guys before like Colin Kaepernick, Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes, like these mobile quarterbacks. None of them can do what Lamar Jackson. And I think that Mahomes is a better passer. He's got a better arm than Lamar Jackson does. I think the same thing's true for Kaepernick. I think the same thing is true for Russell Wilson. Absolutely, it's true. Russell Wilson makes unbelievable throws, but Lamar Jackson can run like no football player I've ever. I mean, this guy has got burst. Like, Lamar Jackson looks like a Madden cheat code. It's like no one can stop this guy. He's unbelievable. He's freaking nasty, Lamar. I mean, he can make the throws, but can he make all the throws? No. If he has to stay in the pocket and they're down big and they need to make some big throws in crunch time, can he make them? You know, against a good defense, probably not. But they're so good that it rarely comes down to that. I mean, their defense is good. It's not great. It's not the best defense, but it's good. Like if the offense is Lamar Jackson's running all over the yard, and they're playing with the lead, yeah, that Ravens defense can hold. But I do not see them going into New England in the AFC Championship game winning. I don't see it. And you know why? Because I feel like whoever won that first matchup a couple weeks ago is going to lose the second one, regardless of who it was that won. Because, you know, the example I always use in these situations is like the New York Giants and the Patriots 2007, the undefeated Patriots season, undefeated regular season, and they lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl. You know, that season, you know, the Patriots and Giants, the last game of the year, they played each other. And, you know, the Patriots got a close win and finished 16-0. But the Giants, after the game, were like, you know what? If we just did this and this, we could have won. And, you know, they learned the lessons. They figured out what they needed to fix. They figured out what's successful, what they need to do. And then in the Super Bowl, a few weeks later, the Giants won. And I feel like this is the same thing. You know, the Patriots, they lost. It was a tough loss against the Ravens. But the Patriots have a great defense, and they kind of got run on by the Ravens. So now they see, okay, look, this is what they did to us. This is what we need to tighten up. This is what we need to do better. And the second time around, I feel like it's going to go the other way. So I feel like as good as the Ravens are, it ain't this year, you know, just because of that. So, yeah, I kind of feel like that's how it's going to go now with the Ravens. But they got plenty of talent, especially to win this game. I mean, Lamar Jackson's unbelievable. As far as this game goes, I got the Ravens beating the Rams. And other than that, until next time, that's going to do for this one, guys. Thanks for watching.